You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Well, folks, it was so much fun last week. We thought we'd do it again. It's Monday, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, and you are with us, so that must make it time for Mission Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Heather Barker, and you've joined a live show where anything can happen and anything does. Tonight, it's open phones. You pick the topic. So click the Zoom link or give us a call at 669-900-6833 because we want to hear from you.
Now, if you joined us last week, you know that we are taking a break from our usual format due to the SAG and WGA strikes. Rewatch and companion shows are considered promotional under the SAG guidelines, and as a Roddenberry-produced show, we are standing in solidarity with those creative professionals.
But now it's your turn. The phone lines are open, and the Earl Green is standing by in the Earl Green room to patch you through to us. We can talk about whatever you like, and you can tell us what you've been up to. We've also got a much more extensive preview of what's happening in that convention in the desert on the Roddenberry stage at Creation's 57-year mission convention.
That is right. So now is the time. Click the thing, dial the thing, say hi to Earl, and then say hi to us. And speaking of saying hi, already people in the chat, good to see you all. First, right at the top of my list, Scott Palm, good to see you. There's Paul Troutwine. There's, Funnest Frontier. Hello. There's Cosmo. Haven't seen Cosmo in a while. Good to see you. There's BC. And, I'm just waiting for it. It's going to, yep, there it is. There it is. He dropped an Alamoraine to the whole gang. Just like he would. There's David, and there's, who else? There's another Paul. There's Paul Wright. There's Dave, as opposed to David, and Carlos and Dominic, and, a third Paul. We got so many Pauls. Fantastic.
Paul trifecta.
Yes, glad to see you all. Let's see how Carlos says, can you guys stop the fire between California and Nevada? Thanks. I didn't realize there was one. I just got back last night. Hey, Tracy Coco, good to see you. And I suppose we will see you in Vegas in a few days. Let's see here. And, there's Jane. And, so many people saying hi now. They're all excited. They're all, Paul Wright says, hello, mission loggers, taking a break from packing to join in. Yes. When I leave here, I'm going back home to pack. That's what I'm doing. Have you packed?
I'm half packed.
Okay.
So I'm getting there.
Yeah, you certainly are. You're way ahead of me.
I throw it all in the suitcase. I just pick up can I wear this to a certain kind of convention? And it works. So I just throw it all in there and then I make the outfits at the convention. There's no real planning.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always been told you should plan the outfits and pack them, and I don't. I just gather everything that I can get my arms around, throw it in a suitcase, and then make it up as I go along. By the way, Dom says in the chat, the latest Delta Flyers episode with Michelle Hurd's interview about the strike is fierce AF. So definitely recommend that. Thank you, Dom, for the heads up on that one. And let's see here. David says he is packing tomorrow. He filled shampoo in a large travel bottle and then gave up. And James Kerwin, he's showing us all up. He says he's packed. He's packed. Not cool.
No, but when you are that cool, you're already packed.
I guess so. He just comes here to show us all up. To say that he's packed. Sarah saying, can't wait to see all you guys. And Paul says, you're both always so well dressed, John Champion and Heather Ray Barker. So that is
so sweet.
Yeah, very nice of him. Now, we do have a bunch of callers standing by, so we will definitely get to you in a moment. But before we do, Heather, how about a little shout out to the rest of the Roddenberry Podcast Network?
All right. There's a bunch of them, and you should follow all of them at podcast.roddenberry.com. And make sure to also like and subscribe to our content on YouTube.Roddenberry Entertainment. Like the video you're watching right now. Do all the likes because we want that exposure. Thank you.
There you go. Exactly. It's as simple as that. A lot of shows to pick from, a lot of platforms to watch us on. But if you go to podcast.roddenberry.com, you will find them all there. So now I have some exciting news that as of today, I was able to take a look at a nearly completed schedule for everything that we're doing in Vegas. So I've jotted those down here, not in any particular order. There are some things that are happening on multiple days, but we'll definitely get into that and talk about what's happening in Vegas. When do you get in? Do you go tomorrow or a Wednesday?
Wednesday afternoon, hoping that all the flights go well.
Yes.
And I also hope I can have a nap in the middle of the day, but we'll
I
see
hope so.
about that. Who knows?
Yeah, I usually prefer to get in on a Tuesday, but couldn't do that this year. So Wednesday it is, and hopefully can leave early enough to just chill out for a little while because Wednesday night, right away, there's stuff happening, and you kick that off.
Yes. So at 7 o'clock at iBar is the Nubian Solo Traveler event where it's really just welcome to anybody. You can be a veteran of STLV. It could be your 13th year, whatever mine is. It's nuts. I've been going far too long. But it's just a place to come and hang out, and we'll be there for a couple hours up until
Hmm.
the landing party, which I'm sure you would like to talk about.
Yes. So the landing party, which, and by the way, you said that your meetup is, for newbies and veterans alike. And it is one of those cool things for those of us who have been going a long time to say hi and welcome those who are coming in. And then the landing party, I do have to admit that this year I've been occupied with other things in my life. A lot of people know. And Larry Nemechek, Dr. Trek, and Kayla Iacovino, Dr. Kayla Iacovino, have really taken on the lion's share of the work. But what we do is we have this informal get together because we know that everybody's going to show up at the Masquerade Bar at some point, but we do something with it. We have trivia, we have prizes, and it's just a great chance to meet and greet, say hello to everybody, and kick off the rest of the week. So we will see you all there. And I will try not to lose my voice that night.
Good luck.
That's usually what happens. Yeah. You know what? But again, like this year, I've had less to do with it. So I think I'll just kind of stay maybe a little off to the side and maybe, pick up the mic and say hi and then that'll be it.
Yeah,
And I'll move along.
nice and chill. Get your drink of choice and mix and say hi to everybody like I do.
Exactly. There you go. Because I will have to start getting up early for the week's festivities because there is a lot going on. And we will get into that very shortly here. I do want to recognize that waiting in the caller list, we have John Arminio, we have Captain Mike, we have Alan, we got Cosmo, we got Cherie, and Paul Harveth, all waiting. So I tell you what, Earl, if you want to drop our first caller in the chat, and we will go ahead and say hi to John Arminio as soon as he drops in here. Oh, yeah, no, almost. All right, we'll give him a second to get in here.
I feel like we're catching a Pokemon.
It is kind of like that. Yeah, exactly. And I will say that in the live chat, so Paul Wright says, just saw that Masquerade Bar will be open all week. Yeah, you better believe it. They better. It's, Rio in the last several years, they've closed some things, reopened some things, but they know that the Trekkies show up and they drink a lot. I heard this, not that I'm, encouraging people to overindulge at all. Please don't. Not good. But I heard this interesting thing on the Star Trek cruise, and I don't know if this is true or not. Might just be urban legend, might be apocryphal, not really sure. But what I heard is that for the Star Trek cruise, people book their tickets and then they come, and then all week long it's a party, and they're going to the bars and they're buying stuff and they're living it up, right? On the cruise that comes right after it, the 80s cruise, they require everyone to buy the minimum drinks package to make sure they hit their minimum. Star Trek cruise, they don't have to do that.
I mean, you've been, so you would know.
Been. Yes. Yeah. It's not far off the mark. I gotta say. Yeah.
I don't know that I could drink that much on a boat, though.
I can't. Look, I try to discourage anybody from getting a drinks package on a ship. It's because I figure, look, if I were heroic enough to drink whatever it is, 100, 120 bucks worth of alcohol on day one, I do not want that on day two and likely day three either. So it would be lost on me, the value of it. Yeah. All right, let's say hi to our first caller. It's John Arminio. Usually John bringing up the end of the show to drop a philosophical bomb on us, but tonight you're kicking us off. So good to see you.
Yeah. So I this week I watched an episode of this series called Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
Very interesting. Well, you can
Yeah.
tell us about it because this is open phones and you can talk about whatever you want. And Heather
Sure.
and I will just be good listeners.
Well, the episode, as I'm sure everybody who's listening, knows, it deals with a Klingon ambassador who was a former general and combatant in the Klingon War, sort of trying, or it seems, trying to make recompense for the war crimes that he committed, but not even being honest with his role in those crimes. And so, the episode deals with things, incredibly heavy topics like, both war crimes, the trauma resulting from them, and then how do we define what forgiveness is for the people who commit those crimes. But one sort of real world parallel that I was thinking about as pertains to Chapel and Mbenga's experiences in the Klingon War is that since for the past like 70 years or so, when America goes to war, um, the general public's involvement and cognizance of what those soldiers and sailors are experiencing has gradually diminished. In Vietnam, we had conscription, but it was a war fought largely by poor Black, very young people. And so the people who were making the decisions to go to war, it was sort of out of sight, out of mind, unless you had a family member involved. And now we're at a point where unless you have a family member involved, it's a war that America has participated in doesn't even affect you in any real way. And so I'm just wondering, in the world of the Federation, where we're in this sort of utopian future, how much separation is there between people like Mbenga and Chapel who are on the front lines and seeing this trauma from the people on Earth who, they're living in a future that we would certainly love to participate in, but it seems like the disparity between what Mbenga and Chapel went through in the horror of the Klingon War is so separate from the lifestyle of the people of Earth that I don't know how much the majority of the population in the 23rd century can even comprehend what they went through. Like, is that society capable of handling that sort of combat trauma when it's just not in their purview anymore as a society?
Well, John, I'm going to unfortunately say that I can't address that directly.
Okay.
But but that's why this is your platform to get out that very interesting thought and share that with our audience, and our audience can take it and make of it what they will and comment on it, which I see they're already doing here. I want to address the historical part of it because that's an area that I am also very interested in, and how the idea of war and the experience of war is recorded and shared to other people. And you mentioned our path, speaking from an American perspective in the last 70 years, and you sort of look at the amount and type of news media and propaganda that came out of World War II compared to then a generation later in Vietnam, compared then to a generation later with things like the war in Iraq and various conflicts that we have going on now. And to me, I think what's more complicating about all of that is that the amount and the variety of types of instant media that we all have. We all walk around with television production studios in our pockets. We can all capture that all the time in vivid detail. And it seems like because of that, the amount of oversight that a military or government then demands to quash and control that narrative has increased multiple times. At the same time, you also have multiple competing news outlets that, as I watch, for example, the invasion of Ukraine, and seeing multiple different perspectives of that, and very much the reality of that being delivered into our homes. So, in a science fiction context, I think that is great grounds to explore. And I don't know if, well, will you tell me, do you feel like there is an ideal balance in those competing aims to be able to get truth and experience and the record of history out versus the competing aim, which is to sort of control a narrative? Because I can understand certainly both sides of the argument, even if I may agree with one or the other.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that the more honest we are with the public, the better. And I realize there's definitely an argument to be made for respecting the families of people. Like you don't want, TMZ filming bodies of soldiers being like, carted off a cargo plane or something like that. But I think you need to be honest with what the consequences of war are. Like for example, like the war in Iraq, things that went underreported for years and years was just how many. So we constantly heard about like deaths, but we rarely heard about the incredibly high numbers of wounded.
Right.
And also the hundreds of thousands of Iraqis who died in that war, and that was not part of the media narrative. So I think as a country, we're still grappling with the realities of trauma. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is the Best Years of Our Lives from 46 or 47, which is it's like a 2-hour 45-minute movie about what a group of veterans who are having trouble adjusting to the world after World War II. It's one of Frederick March's best roles, and it features a real a double amputee who won 2 Oscars for the role. The only time an actor won 2 Oscars for the role, he won Best Supporting Actor and just like a special award that they sort of created for him for that one role.
Oh wow.
And it's just how these, now that like for example, this guy pilot who was an officer in the war, now like he's having trouble finding any sort of employment. So this guy that was in charge, had an incredibly important job, now is sort of like an afterthought to his friends and his family, and because of episodes like this one from Stranger Worlds, we're still unable to grapple with how do we as a society handle the trauma of the people we send to war, especially when we're very uncomfortable with the role that we played in it. And I think that was probably the peak of that, or the nadir of that, was with Vietnam. But I think it absolutely continues. And I think, just real quick before I yield the floor, another aspect of the Strange New World episode was how do we consider forgiveness in a sort of a post-war environment. But I think was really interesting, is that, and the Rabbi Daniel Ruttenberg has written about this in a great book called Repentance and Repair. But it seems like the Klingon ambassador was sort of like weaponizing forgiveness, like forcing Starfleet and M'Benga specifically to be like, if you don't forgive me for the sins I committed, you're a bad person. And as much as I believe in forgiveness, I think it requires acknowledgement of what was done and attempts at repairing those sins. And you can't just be like, well, I'm sorry, so let's move on.
Yeah. No, that's something that absolutely happens in the micro level too, where the person expecting forgiveness, it sort of absolves them of everything.
Yeah,
and
that was the theme of of Oppenheimer, where Oppenheimer was say, "Oh, I become Death Destroyer of Worlds. Look how guilty I feel." Like, that doesn't absolve you if you feel bad for creating a nuclear weapon.
Right. John, thank you tremendously for doing what you do so well, which is coming in here and giving us some great ideas to think about, people commenting on it in the chat. So I would say stick around there as well, and you might get some very direct responses. James Kerwin, you're so funny. All right.
I really appreciate you letting me start the show off with such sort of serious topics. I think if Alan's around, we need a song after all.
No, look, I appreciate it. We're going into funny Vegas promo, but then hopefully we'll have some more serious calls too. Yeah. So thank you very much for that. And we'll do this again sometime. All right.
Excellent. Yeah. Take care.
Take care, John. Be good. Hey, because we lack any form of transition to come from a serious and insightful and important call like that, we'll just go right over to Captain Mike, because Captain Mike will help us segue into a conversation about what's happening in Vegas in a couple of days. So, Mike, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, John. When the other John mentioned something about a pilot, I was like, oh, here's our avenue to cut in. But what an insightful, what a great, and to gain the perspective of other viewers, with different ways of thinking and different ability to perceive, and their empathy and their high EQ is just such a gift in this environment, in this Mission Log family that we have. By
the way, sorry to cut you off. Just want to make sure that if John is still listening and engaging in the chat, John is a very talented podcaster as well. So by all means, drop your link in the chat so other people can catch your show. So sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. And you mentioned James Kerwin's comment. I laughed out loud at that. So
yeah.
I will not read it out loud, but it was I did laugh out loud on that.
Yes.
So Vegas, baby. We're going to talk about that one show that Seth MacFarlane made that's kind of like that other show that Gene made. And we're going to do that on the main stage at 3:00 on Saturday.
Is that your intro? Is that how you're going to do it?
I think so.
I love that.
And we're going to open an indistinct jar of envelopes that may of vegetables that maybe have been marinated in something and savor what's inside.
Banana?
So that's our plan. Well, we need no longer fear the banana, Heather. But, so yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've got Scott, Penny, Jay Lee, Peter Macon, Mark Jackson, and Scott Grimes, if I didn't say that already. So 6 altogether. And we just found out a couple of days ago, Brandon Braga is going to
fantastic
be on stage also. So reached out to Seth today to see if there were any do's and don'ts, and he just said, "No, man, we trust you. So just do your best. Try not to get canceled." And, that's the goal.
With that lineup, you got the 6 actors and Brandon and you and Jessica. This needs to be like a 6-hour panel.
It does. Because I'm thinking everybody gets like 4 minutes, because questions take up the better part of half an hour or so. Depending on what the format is there, but I'm thinking 20 minutes for questions. We've got 5 minutes or so for each person at the most, with a little bit of interest. So it's going to go fast, but I'm really excited about it. And just just what an amazing ride this has been, John. Just thanks for inviting me in to do this a couple of years ago, and it has just been a great experience, and really looking forward to seeing you and Jessica out there and everybody.
Likewise. Well, you guys do a stellar job, and it is a testament to the quality that you bring to each of your shows. And if people don't listen to it, well, go to podcast.roddenberry.com and find Mike and Jessica's show, because it's great. But it is a testament to the quality of the show that you do, that you have been embraced by Seth and his whole production team and the people that he works with. And all I can say is that, I want to pay attention to the future, and hopefully he will be doing more when we are past all of this.
I was told today by a co-producer to remain optimistic. So that was it was Tom Costantino.
Oh,
so he just said I would stay optimistic. Just it's going to take some time to put the pieces back together after the strike, and hopefully all the creatives in front of and behind the camera, and specifically the writers and actors, get what they deserve, because the studios are making billions, and that needs to be commensurate with what those other folks are making.
Yeah, it is astonishing when you look at this sort of the separation in decades. There's the world of TV pre-reruns, and that changed everything when people figured out, oh, wait, reruns can also make money, and we need to make money, with actors and writers and everybody need to be paid for that product being reused and reused. Now, similar situation, we're in this post-streaming era where streaming took off, completely rewrote the rules, and left everybody out in the process. And that has only been getting worse and worse. So,
yeah, it's a watershed moment, just like the advent of television, and last co-strike was in 1960. And we're seeing the same thing now, that watershed moment with streaming and everything changing. And we've got to take care of the people that take care of us with their creativity and their ability to entertain, and ability to get us to think about things and put ourselves in the shoes of other people so we can understand one another.
Yeah. Well said. And remind us again, Saturday, Creation Main Stage, 3:00.
I don't have to remind you of a thing. You got it all correct, sir.
Good. Well, I hope everybody goes there. And hey, look, you, sir, you're going to have the great privilege and honor when you walk off of that stage, they put a Sharpie in your hand and you go sign the big poster. And then that will get auctioned off to somebody who has no idea who you are.
I love that.
That's the way it works.
That makes me so happy that somebody's going to be like, who's this guy? I don't know. This guy, we don't know.
Yes, that's the way it works. Mike, thank you for all the hard work that you've done over the last few years on our little shows, and I love to see it pay off with something like this. So,
all righty, looking forward to seeing you and Heather in the next couple of days. Thanks so much, John.
Likewise. Take care, Mike. Be good.
Bye.
All right. So there was one little tease of what we're going to get during STLV. Can we call it that? We're going to call it Creation's 57-year mission convention. We'll call it that. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
So before we get to more of what is on our stage, let's go ahead and welcome in Alan, who is in Iowa.
Yes. Yeah. I was traveling last week and trying to get home, and apparently I overshot it. Anybody who knows for sure knows that I'm about an hour, 2 hours off course. But hopefully soon I will be home.
All right. We hope so. Well, what's on your mind tonight, Alan?
Well, yeah, I also wanted a somewhat neutral background compared to what I usually have. But so yeah, I just wanted to comment a little bit about the episode and just say that it was certainly, a challenging one, and one that I'm sort of wrestling with internally, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about. At the end of the day, it's going to take some time to sort of process. So luckily, we don't have to have a big discussion about it now. But yeah, it got me thinking that wow, a group of people, say, maybe not we won't use Star Trek terminology, so let's call it an association.
Okay. Yeah.
An association is bands together, and turns out that for a long time they were in some sort of conflict with one of their rivals, and they in a sense, we're out to, destroy each other's ability to produce things. An association about producing things. And but after a while, they find themselves in a place where they've taken their enemy and have used them almost as sort of like a negotiator or an ambassador for their position against, other entities that they might do business or, have dealings with.
Sure.
That seems like a problematic choice. And by that I mean to say, to the studios out there, Netflix is not your friend. They are...
Keep going.
If what I'm hearing is correct and Netflix is the thing that's holding up this strike, that's a stupid idea. Why are you letting them do that to you guys? Think about it. 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road, when you're out of movies to put in theaters, when you're out of TV shows to put on TV, where's Netflix going to be? Right where they want to be. Sitting pretty with their subscribers, watching Squid Game 3 or whatever is out at that point. They're going to be fine. You're the ones who are going to be in trouble. So if it's really Netflix that's holding this all up, kick them out of your little club, guys. You can do better. Otherwise, I don't want to take a huge amount of time because I know we've got other people waiting in the queue. But at the end of the day, I wanted to call in today because I feel like we're not going to be able to spend time together as friends here on Zoom or on the Fabulous Mission Log Discord for about a week while you guys are out in the desert. And I just want to say that I hope you have just as much of a fun and rewarding and just a great convention experience as I've just gotten through with myself. So,
man, that is great to hear, and I love how you wove together those stories. Very, very nicely done.
Just things sort of struck me, and as far as a song, who knows? Maybe next time I'll be in a musical mood for some reason. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Very good.
But
well, thank you for that. And yeah, it's true that we probably, some of us at least, won't be on Discord as much, but that is the perfect segue to our mid-show break, where we remind people that this conversation carries on in a very uncensored, uncagey kind of way in our Discord, where there are text threads there, but then there is live chat, very much like this, where we get to talk about all manner of things and be very honest about what we're talking about. So that is all available for you on Discord. And I hope what happens is that for a lot of us mission loggers who will be getting together in Vegas, that we will flip on that video channel at some point and be able to share kind of what's happening there with people who can't make it, but are members of our community. So, Heather, anything lately that has caught your eye in the Mission Log Discord, which, by the way, is available to you from patreon.com/missionlog. That is, of course, how you get into the Mission Log Discord.
Well, I have to say, Alan just broke my heart. I will FaceTime you in to that place that we're all going.
I will do my best to be there.
Good. So we've been talking about something that we might be talking about tonight on Discord. Every Wednesday, and having that conversation where I do get to talk about things. And so I won't be there this week, but next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, if you want to talk about certain things, then we will be there to talk about the thing that we've been talking about tonight. I think that makes sense.
Perfect.
Under the cloak of Discord?
Yes, there you go. There you go.
There we go.
Well, that says it all, because our Discord is a private server, and it is only open to people who have joined us on Patreon, patreon.com/missionlog. So we don't have to worry about all of this. We don't have to think twice about what we're going to say there. So join us today, patreon.com/missionlog. You will very soon after get a link exclusive to you to join our Discord, and we'll see you there. We talk about whatever you want to talk about. We've even created channels there specifically because people said, hey, I want to talk about this, and we do that. So that's the kind of service you get on our Discord. So, and Spencer just said, wait, are we talking about Voldemort? Maybe indeed. Alan, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to jump over to our next caller and
have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully we'll get there next year.
Yes, we hope to see you there. All right, take care. And I promise, we will get to the rundown of the highlights of what's on the Roddenberry stage. Now, Heather, you and I already did that, and Mike was there, of course, too, and Norm, when we did the get-together on the Seventh Rule podcast. That was a few weeks ago, though, and here we are now at the 11th hour, and we really do have something akin to a schedule and a lot more detail about what's happening. So... yeah, very much look forward to that. All right, Cosmo, welcome back to the show. We haven't seen you in a little while, and you're out there living it up. It's outside, sunny.
It's a beautiful evening. I went outside to throw some trash out, and I figured it was going to be hot and gross, but it's breezy and mid-80s, and so I decided to stay out here.
All right, good. Well, and what is on your mind tonight?
Since it's open topic, I would like to start off. My wife works at a school, and she found out today her school's band director was doing a charity bike ride from California out to New Mexico to raise money for a water project with the Navajo Nation. And he rode all the way to New Mexico, and he was in Salinas on his way back home, and he was struck by a driver not paying attention and killed.
Oh my God.
And so if anybody would like to retweet his charity, you can find me at Starfleet Panels on Twitter, and my most recent tweet has the article and his charity. And just retweeting and signal boosting a worthy charity helps a lot. And so the whole school community is pretty shook up, and it's a shame he made it so far. He rode his bike through Death Valley last week and made it through all that. And then a distracted driver. So at Starfleet Panels, if anybody wants to retweet and signal boost a worthy charity.
Got it. I'm so sorry to hear that. Please give Heidi my best. And that is worthy. And by the way, follow at Starfleet Panels anyway, because those panels definitely don't explode.
My original handle was Picard's Fish, but then Twitter banned him for unexplicable reasons. And so then I pretend to sell exploding panels full of rocks on Twitter. So.
That's the best kind. Yeah.
Let's see. One quick comment that you guys can't comment about a recent episode of Star Trek. It left a weird taste in my mouth having a main character of mine murder somebody. And I liked the episode, but looking back on a Deep Space Nine episode where Sisko did not directly murder somebody, he contributed to, but Garrick did it, who's a spy, and so that just left me feeling a little weird. But we didn't see exactly how it went down, so it didn't bum me out too much. But just feeling a little weird about that. But I know you guys can't comment. And then my other thought is I'm just so delighted with how many options there are for Star Trek toys these days. A decade ago, there was nothing but Eaglemoss stuff. And that wasn't really toys, as my son found out. But now there's a whole line called reaction figures. And they are little from like season 1 TNG, these little 3 3/4 inch ones, and they're delightful. They're reasonably priced. And so there's lots of cool Trek toys out there, and it's really fun gifting those to James. My buddy's 9-year-old got a Borg from me and a Lego TOS Enterprise for his birthday, and he was happy about that. So yay Star Trek, and yay toy makers for finally getting us some options.
Hard agree there. I love the reaction line. I mean, if I got too into it, I would just have every cabinet and every available shelf space filled with those, because they do the deep dive of stuff that I always wanted to see, and they make it. So it's pretty great. Yeah. Excellent. Cosmo, thank you for calling in tonight. Really appreciate it. And
one last thing.
please.
So, last night, my 8-year-old, and I were browsing through my iTunes purchases, trying to figure out what to watch. And he chose black and white original The Day the Earth Stood Still. And that made me a proud daddy moment, because how many 8-year-olds would request to watch that? And and he stayed engaged the whole time. So way to go. And that is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, go check it out.
Did it right. Michael Rennie transcends, and Robert Wise's talent is all over that screen. So awesome. I'm so glad.
Good to see you guys. Right. Have fun in Vegas.
Take care.
Bye.
Hey, speaking of Vegas, let's get to that lineup, shall we? And Cherie is on deck, and then we'll have Paul at the very end. And but yeah, now seems like the right time. So Cherie, hang on just a moment. Sorry. And let me share a little bit of what has fleshed out our schedule coming up in Vegas at Creation's 57-year mission convention. So we've mentioned the morning show before, and the morning show is coming back Thursday and Friday, 9:30 in the morning, Saturday, Sunday, 9 in the morning. Now, here's the caveat, and I apologize. In previous years, we were able to bring in coffee and donuts for everyone. We're no longer allowed to do that. It's not because we don't want to, it's because we're not allowed to. However, the hotel, and I think you'll follow the path of logic here, the hotel is opening that bar breakfast area just ahead of time for the morning show. You would put 2 and 2 together. So that will be available. That will be open. And Jessica Lynn Verdi and I will host the morning show, and we'll have a multitude of guests. And I can tell you right away that at the halfway point in each morning show, we will have Callie's Klingon Corner, and you will be able to learn a bit of Klingon every day. So I promise that to you. All right. So that is one of the things that will happen, along with special guests, along with previews of what's coming up for the day, because we like to think that we're there as kind of your live program to point out some highlights and things to do during the day at the convention. And the reason they're early is because we're trying to kick it off, just before the creation stages open. So you come see us, and then you get out there to see what's happening on those stages. And it should be streamed. Now, I say should be because we may run into some technical problems, as we do sometimes. But it should be streamed, and if all goes according to plan, you will be able to see those live streams, facebook.com/Roddenberry, and Creation's Facebook page, and our YouTube pages as well. So Roddenberry Roddenberry Prod, or Roddenberry Entertainment, and I believe Creation or Creation Entertainment on YouTube as well. So follow any of those places. And we heard from a lot of people who would watch it if they couldn't go to the convention because they wanted to know what would be happening anyway. And then people who were getting ready for the day watching in their rooms, and they could catch us talking about what was coming up. So that is the plan. Stand by, follow all of Roddenberry's social media and Creation's social media, and we will put up links to that so you know to go watch it. Our friends from Lambda Quadrant, they will have a panel, I believe it's consistent every day at 11:30 a.m. So on our stage every day at 11:30, that will be the Lambda Quadrant hour. They will have their time on our stage. Heather, you seem very pleased about that.
Oh, I love them. I love them so much. And we had them last year. Mm-hmm. We had them host a panel. And they are helping co-host the Nubian Solo Traveler event. So just happy to see them. Great people, great content.
Yes. Now, Kerwin in the chat says, I'll be on stage with Larry at 4:18 a.m. Sunday morning. Now, that may be the case. That may very well be the case. But I can tell you also, in addition to that, Larry and I and Dr. Kayla Iacovino and Meredith Michael and Dr. Mohammed Noor, we will be sharing the stage for what we are calling very cleverly, extremely cleverly, The Demon Haunted Planet. That is a play on Carl Sagan's book, The Demon Haunted World. And we're going to be talking about ideas of pseudoscience and how we need to use our critical thinking if we intend to get to a prosperous and progressive future that is espoused in some of our favorite science fiction. So it's about trying to separate what is maybe a conspiratorially driven pseudoscience idea versus what is the real world thing that should really be grabbing our attention. So we'll be having a panel discussion about that, and that will be on Thursday morning, I believe 10:30. James and Larry will also take the stage, I believe later that day, but I might be wrong, for canon smoothing. That's one of my favorite things, where you go through and you go, okay, well, this thing in this story doesn't fit this moment in this story. How do we smooth this out? How do we rationalize what happened to make our beautiful, perfect canon? Because, it's all thought out ahead of time so well. They never make mistakes, right? No. This is how you smooth out the mishaps in canon. Thrifty Trekkie will be joining us for 2 sessions of makeup. Heather, you're a fan?
Yeah, Kellen.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not like all my friends are on the panels. It just worked out that way. That's it. Right. But no, Kellen, wonderful cosplayer, super creative, everything thrifted, budgeted cosplay so that it's accessible for everyone. So I was super excited to see Kellen included this year.
Awesome. So we will have Thrifty Trekkie doing 2 sessions. One will be Trill, and the other will be a combined, it'll be a Bajoran makeup and a Klingon makeup on that second day. So check the program to get the specifics on that. We will have multiple performances by Bonnie Gordon. Later in the day, like around 4:30, right before our stage will break to be reset for evening shows, Bonnie Gordon will be doing multiple solo shows. Cannot wait for those. Speaking of Bonnie Gordon, she will be appearing on Match Game. And Match Game, hosted by a very talented game show host, Gene Raygun. Can't wait to see what Gene brings to the stage this year. But I do know that Bonnie will be there, John Billingsley will be there, Connor Trenier will be there, other guests TBA, so make sure you pay attention to that. That will be on Saturday afternoon at 3:30. Astronomer Rika French has 2 sessions. I know that one of them will be about kind of current astronomical news, including updates from the JWST. I know that another one will be about the upcoming eclipses, and I'm very excited about that because I want to book a cruise during the eclipse. I've been reading about these trips that are parking themselves in the Pacific, kind of down closer to Mexico, where apparently this is going to be prime viewing for this total solar eclipse next spring. Yeah.
That's amazing. I know somewhere in all of this, I don't know if it's our panels. I think Rika's very busy at this convention.
Yeah.
There's somewhere else where I think she's like hooking you up with glasses, even like eclipse glasses.
And I think she's going to bring some of those to our panel. So what we try to do is separate it a bit. So there's the creation stage panel on Thursday, and then ours will be a couple of days later. So if you missed it or you want to come back for more, then you'll be able to get a double dose. And then I am so excited that Norm and Shar will be hosting on our stage Mission Log Prodigy Presents, conversation with Dan and Kevin Hageman and Aaron Waltke. So yes, there is a Prodigy panel on one of the creation stages, but you know that our Mission Log approach is something a little different, talking about morals, meanings, messages, talking about some of the bigger picture ideas. And that is what I expect out of that panel in that more intimate environment. So make sure you look on the schedule for that. Looking forward to it. And then there's games. There's bingo. There's a scavenger hunt. There are other games. I will tease it here. It's 6 Degrees of Gene Roddenberry. and it's not exactly what you may think it is. There is a little spin on that game that isn't just like going to IMDb and, so stick around for that. For sure.
Don't show up drunk.
No, you can't.
You might be confused.
You have to show your work. That's the trick. Trek Geeks will be back with Stump the Geek. And of course, we mentioned it. Mike, again, the Orville panel, Saturday, 3 p.m. Right? Excellent. All right. I think Match Game is going to compete with that a little bit, but, that's fine. So enjoy. And then Star Trek Wines and Spirits, have to give them a shout out because they are providing a lot of product to us, but they are also hosting some very cool events on our stage. They're doing a whiskey hour on Thursday. Very happy about that. And then the big wine tasting on Friday. And that will be a ticketed but a free event. And we'll be providing QR codes so you can sign up for it. Join us for that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say it or not, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I didn't hear back in time. Star Trek Spirits will be they'll be announcing a brand new, very limited set of whiskeys. I think it's only a couple of hundred bottles. That's it. And they're only releasing a small portion of that can be ordered at the convention. People who do order at the convention will get invited to a very exclusive tasting, and they're bringing one of their top mixologist, connoisseur, like a whiskey expert, so you get to hang out, mingle there. So make sure that you check in with the Star Trek Wines and Spirits folks, or check in with us. We'll be able to provide you with information to get connected to that. Let me just say that if you are a collector and you like really fine high-end collectibles, and you also appreciate a nice drink, this will have your name all over it. So that's all I got to say about that.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up. And what is coming up in the immediate future is Cherie, who has joined us again. Cherie, how's it going tonight?
Hey, good. Can you hear me okay?
We can, absolutely.
Wonderful.
I love your background. You got Will and Gates, who are both on the picket line. That's great.
And we have Strike Spock and Picket Mariner.
That's awesome.
That is all cool. Tawny Newsom's writing. So
that's
can't take credit. That was the caption of the picture.
Oh, so cool. So cool. Well, what's on your mind tonight?
So I was wondering, do you guys always have Star Trek Las Vegas at the same time every year?
You know, it's interesting. They did, and then last year they changed it because they had to. But it seems like that first weekend in August is really the sweet spot. And I would say that because you're after Comic-Con, you're before Dragon Con. And there are a lot of people who work in education who said, when they had it later in the summer, later in August, couldn't go because they were already back in school. So, yeah, keep your eye always on that first weekend in August.
I want to try to go next year, but I'm a public librarian. And whereas the schools are in their downtime, this is where all the kids go. We have big programs during the summer reading programs and stuff to help the kids during the summer, and also just because it's fun. But yeah, so there's a big event that, like, even if I had wanted to go this year, a giant thing that I'm working on, it like ends like I want to say I think you guys start because you guys start on the 3rd, right?
Yeah. Yes, this year it officially starts on the 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's still when I have to do a giant program.
Oh, no. Well, hey,
so we'll see how it goes next year. I don't know how the dates for that program will pan out.
Well, and I will say this because pretty much every year at the end of the convention, they may even have it in the program if they have a printed program this year, but they'll announce the dates and any relevant information for the next year. Now, it is my understanding that it won't be at the Rio again next year.
No, it will be. They confirmed it. Yes,
they did.
Cool. Yeah, Trek Movie interviewed Gary. And
okay.
Yeah, and they did confirm we will be back. So
then I understand wrong. Did they release dates in that interview?
No, we will. Okay. We will know this week, and we will have both an app schedule and a printed paper schedule.
Nice, fantastic. All right. Well, hopefully that long-awaited renovation that was supposed to start in 2020 and then 2021 and then 2022, hopefully by 2024 it will be in place. So that would be the time to come. Yeah. Have you hit other Star Trek or sci-fi conventions in your fandom life?
No, never. And I will be honest that for most of my life, I was a bigger fan of a rival sci-fi franchise. I've always been a fan of both. I have never had any patience for the you have to be one or the other. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
There's both. There's both. You can love both. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I was a bigger fan of a certain other sci-fi franchise for quite some time. A rival Star franchise. But I feel like Star Trek always had a place in my heart for sure. And then honestly, right now is producing better stuff. So.
Well, there you go. Not much argument for me, but you know what? I think it's interesting that both of those Star franchises have found, I think, a better depth of storytelling and more interesting stories to tell in streaming and small screen arenas. So that's another reason that I hope this whole thing resolves itself before too long, because I happen to like the programming. So yeah. Excellent. Any other thoughts tonight before we wrap things up?
I will throw out there, I came prepared this time. I have a conversation topic.
Hey, right on.
Because I was like, what are some other things other than Star Trek that nobody will listen to me on, but I always want to talk about?
Fabulous.
And since I mentioned that I'm a librarian, I wanted to throw out there that the phrase "the internet is forever" always bothers me a lot, because that is a lie. If you understand anything about archives and how to archive information, the internet is terrible. We are just one step away from losing everything. And so, I mean, yes, can they do a screenshot of something and shame you for, a period that will seem like forever? Sure, fine, whatever. But as an archivist, no, it's terrible and it's trash. And I also wanted to throw out there that government librarians are often superheroes, because the government would like to digitize a lot of government information. They haven't yet. A lot of it is in paper. At least it was. I haven't had a chance to look into it since I was in library school, so maybe they've digitized some of it. But they're also very slow on the uptake of technology in the government. So, but the reason that it's probably not the best for them to do that is because right now, those documents are in the charge of the government librarians they give them to. So when the government wants to go and make some documents disappear, the government librarian can be like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. I'm not sure where that went. Oh, it might turn up later. But right now,
wow, that's a lot of power for a librarian to have.
And I went to a presidential library one time. I won't dox myself, so I won't say where I went to school. But there was a presidential library in the area, so we went to it, and those librarians have top secret clearance. There is redacted things and all kinds of fun stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting to hear you say, because forever takes on a different meaning when you're saying like, oh, okay, well, in my lifetime, this thing that I put on the internet can come back to bite me or embarrass me or whatever. And Carlos mentions in the chat here the Wayback Machine, and there's this sort of like weird, quirky things that get archived there, but I don't know if forever and ever that will be necessarily the case. But clearly, a book that was printed 100 or 500 years ago still exists. You can still go get to it. Might be very difficult, but you can get to it, and the content doesn't change. That is a much more forever perspective than just what was on my MySpace page, which I think has been erased for all eternity. So I hope.
Like even within our lifetimes, things that there's definitely things on the internet. Like I'll like be like, oh, this is a great recipe. Oh, that's fine. I'll just save the link and I'll go back to it later. Gone.
No.
404 error.
Yes.
Recipe not found. And I'm like, why didn't I save it?
It's amazing how much pruning I can do with my bookmarks list in a very short time. Like click, doesn't work, all gone. Yeah. Well, listen, Cherie, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing a bit of your life with us. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for listening.
Excellent. And I hope that if the dates work out somehow for the next convention, you can come join us, or hopefully we'll be on the road and can see you somewhere else when it's more convenient. All right.
That would be cool.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, take care. You have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Then we're going to wrap things up tonight with Paul, who we will be seeing in just a couple of days. Paul, welcome.
Hey, look at my favorite people here in this room. I was just commenting with Earl and Alan about, I hope sometime before, I die, I get to see Earl and Alan in the same room at a party, much like, we try to do in Vegas. And I got to tell you, your sponsor there, can I mention the sponsor's name? Is that legal to say?
Absolutely.
Star Trek Wines and Spirits. Part of the fun of doing things is trying to establish the correct color of characters that we know and love. So here's what I suggest. You take Michelle actually came up with this. You take cran pomegranate juice in a ratio of 2-to-1 with the Romulan ale vodka, the blueness.
Okay.
And you can't imagine what color comes up, but it is just, something that's called the boy me up. So here's what I suggest is on Thursday night, you take your favorite, if you have a bottle of the famous blue ale, pour it into some cran pomegranate juice and enjoy it with us. Now, if you like something a little sweeter and maybe a little more powerful, like, 30% alcohol, you take some limoncello.
Yeah.
Everybody has limoncello sitting around. I know Mike does.
Sure.
Heather's giving me the eyeballs like, nope. It makes great pound cake, but what you do though is you mix that in a ratio of 2-to-1 with this fine Romulan ale blueness, and you end up with the Tendy Teeny. The Tendy Teeny. Yes. Because it's the Tendy shade of green. So there you go. Those are the secrets that may be revealed here coming up if everything goes as planned.
See, but I love this because Craig sent some recipes from Star Trek Spirits, but you have taken it another level and come up with themed recipes yourself. And you and Michelle in your R&D kitchen. So that's awesome.
It certainly wasn't about the flavor. It's all about the color, baby. So if you don't like it, it's the right color.
Yeah, but you tried them, and you didn't die trying it. So
I slept really well.
Slept well.
So
very good.
Another thing I'm sure of is that, like, if we're on the air a week from now, some of us maybe, I'm not sure, we won't be back in time, but there will be new stories to be told, right?
Oh, yeah.
Probably enough to last the strike. I imagine between you and Heather running all over and doing panels and live panels, it'd be interesting to compare audience size and, what we talked about, and did anybody clap? Did anybody boo? Right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody in the match game panel will at some point boo, because that's part of the...
Oh, they have to. Yeah, that's practically required at this point. Looking forward to that for sure. And I think on that Monday, so if all goes according to plan, I will be back in LA. Norman will be in transit back to Florida. Heather, you'll be in transit back to Florida. So it might be me and Holly. So it might be me kind of just sharing whatever weirdness happened at the convention with her. A longtime veteran of those shows, but hasn't been the last few years. So that'll be cool to share that with her. Maybe, I don't know, Mike, you're getting back Monday, right? So maybe we'll get a little report from you if you're not too tired.
I might be in a position to help you. That would be fun.
Okay.
Sure. That's what they all say, Mike. That's what they all say.
I mean, I could pull an Alan and just call from the airport as I...
That's true. That is
I'm in the baggage claim.
Yes. Oh my
we'll probably be in the airplane. So I got two last things before we leave. A, check out the live show. We know you, John. We love you, John. Your composure, you're just so wonderful in everything. We listen to you. You are the reason.
What are you setting me up for?
You are the reason that Mission Log exists and that so many of us are here. But I got to tell you, when you're on stage with Jessica Lynn Verdi, anything can happen and does happen. And it's worth, I get up at 8, 9 o'clock to be there just to see what's going to happen because it's that unpredictable. So make some time to get there or watch it.
Well, thank you. It is just early enough that neither of us are comfortable and just sort of stage conscious enough that the adrenaline is going. It's a perfect storm of us being on our game and simultaneously off our game, and usually just take it out on each other. So that is reason to go to that show. Yes,
it really is. It's certainly enjoyable. It gets you revved up for the day. And I'm going to leave you with this. For all our Discord friends, for those of you who should join Discord, the reason to do it is hopefully, this is the plan anyway, that our friend Julie, we all know infamous Julie in Discord, will try and actually live stream the setup on Thursday. So we normally have After Dark on Thursday at 4 o'clock Pacific. And, unfortunately, a lot of people are gone this week. But tune in if you're an After Dark person. Just check it out and see if there's some activity. You guys hang out together, and maybe we're going to do our best to pop in and actually have some voices of some of us in the same room at the same time throughout the evening. So looking forward to that.
I love that. That's so cool. Everybody, if you have joined, just go look for it in that After Dark channel. If you haven't joined, we'll get you the Discord link after you join Patreon, and then you will be able to check out our After Dark live stream. That's such a cool idea. Thanks for doing that. And seriously, Paul, thank you for everything that you've done to put together this party and make things even that much more fun for all of us at Vegas. So I look forward to seeing you and Michelle and giving you both a big hug.
Same here, brother. And Heather, we'll see you there. And Mike, looking forward to seeing Mike and his lovely wife. And the podcast introduction should be fun, as always. And just looking to get there in one piece and have everybody in the same room. And we'll go from there. That's the goal. All right. Same here, my friends. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
There it is.
Mike, any sign off for us tonight, Mike?
Just, man, really looking forward to it. Come see us on the Orville panel. And if you don't see us there, then you got Match Game with Gene Ray going at the same time, or overlapping a little bit. You can't lose. Cannot lose.
Yeah, either way.
Have fun.
Either way, top tier programming. Heather, any final thoughts tonight before we say goodnight?
Come see me on Sunday at 3:30 in the DeForest Kelley Theater for the Trek Division panel, please. Thank you.
Oh my God, I apologize. It was not on my list, but that is critical and crucial. You and Matthew and John Billingsley. Who am I leaving out?
Ifan Cobb.
Ifan.
Who's an attorney. He's a human workers' rights, labor rights, which is important to talk about right now. So Federation of Change Makers, and it's 3:30 Sunday, DeForest Kelley.
Fantastic. All right. We will make sure we record that one as well. All right. With that, Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live by the incandescent Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcasts. If you would like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/Mission Log. Special thanks to my co-host Heather Barker for another great live show. Thank you to everyone who joined us live or later, and we look forward to seeing you all, very soon. Take care.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.